Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can ever overcome in what you couldn't do alone. I'm determined to. Yeah, I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'm gone. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can ever overcome in what you couldn't do alone. I'm determined to. Yeah, I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'm gone. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah.
I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. I'ma win, I'ma win, I'ma win, yeah. Hey, what's up, y'all? It is First Monday. Woo! On this July 4th, we came to celebrate today. What do we celebrate? We celebrate being a winner. Yes, even if you don't feel like it. Start speaking that thing. I am a believer now. And what you say out of your mouth becomes a reality. Yes, I know that. Like this past weekend, I got to tell y'all something. This past weekend, I was on a little old vacation, just a little weekend getaway. And I realized like my body is changing. I was so hot. Like, I was like, where is this coming from? But I kept saying, oh, I'm hot. Oh, I'm hot. And nothing changed. Then I thought to myself, look, I got to start saying I'm cool. Listen, I'm chill. I'm cool. I'm all right. So I can start feeling better because by me saying the negative and saying I was hot, which was the actuality, but because I was putting it out there, it didn't change a thing. So I kept getting hotter. It felt like this cloud of heat was following me, man. I was like, what is going on with this body right here? But I am a firm believer. What come out of this mouth, man, it is happening. So even though you don't see it and don't even feel like it, just begin to continue to say it. And I believe eventually that thing gonna happen, all right? So first of all, I want to say thank you so much for following Experiencing Life, Love, and Loss with Tisha. Listen, I am so appreciative for the support and you continuing to be with us today. Before I even go, click like and share, click like and share, click like and share, click like and share. Like the page and then share it. Listen, today we're going to talk about some stuff that's not necessarily talked about in the Black community. And we're going to talk about the courage to choose counseling. What does that mean? Sometimes because the spirit of fear, okay? This spirit called fear prevents us from even thinking that counseling is for us. There has been a negative cliche that Black people don't go to counseling, or we don't need counseling, or counseling is for crazy people, all of that. We're trying to get away from that and have the courage to choose counseling. What does that mean? Forget about all the stuff that you have heard or thought concerning counseling and just choose it. Take a chance with yourself. Take a chance with someone who have studied the mind. Okay. We go to the doctors all the time. We go to these people who are practicing medicine. We give them our symptoms, and they began to express to us our diagnosis based on our symptoms. Well, the body is a part, the mind is a part of the body. Just like the physicians study the body, the psychiatrists, the counselors, they study the mind. So when you begin to give the symptoms of the things that you're going through, they have a remedy for that. Don't necessarily have to be medication. I know we don't like medicine. It don't have to be medication. Sometimes it's just tools that you can use that'll get you on the right track. All right, are you with me? So this week, with the C, we're doing something different. I have a guest with me on today. Her name is Dr. Marilyn K. Thomas. She is a doctor who has studied the mind. She has a lot of experience in counseling, and we're going to welcome her to Experiencing Life, Love, and Loss. Why don't y'all give a good God bless you and a hand clap to Dr. Marilyn K. Thomas. What's up, Thomas?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. So how do I know Dr. Thomas? Well, Dr. Thomas and I talked together. Girl, how long ago was that? In like 2006, 5, 6, something like that.
2008. So, and I was there for 6 years. So I left there in 2014.
Okay, so we taught middle school together.
Yes.
So you know, middle school is that age where you have to be about it. They're not the little kids, so you can't just baby, and they're not the older ones where you can say you better, but they right there where you can get with them, and you need to get with them where they're trying to figure out themselves. So she has some experience with the mind and dealing with the mind. So Dr. Thomas, right quick, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about who you are and what type of counseling you provide.
Okay, well, a little bit about me. I am Dr. Marilyn K. Thomas. I have a doctoral degree in family studies. So the interworkings of the family has always been something that I was interested in, and I extended on that and went into counseling. So I am a licensed professional counselor. I am a certified school counselor. So I've been in education. This is year 15 now. So Miss Milton was at my first teaching job, and I met her there in Homespun Wisdom because she's been in the game a long time. So she was a big help to me with learning how to deal with those babies, because they are babies, even though they don't think they are.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much. We appreciate that. So, as you know, what she just particularly said to you, that she is well qualified. She have studied. I know the Bible that I read say, study to show yourself approved. So that means she has been stamped with approval because she have studied this. So she is well aware of the things that we go through with life, even the effect that it have on ourselves and our loved ones and the closeness that we have. Now, this thing called counseling, sometimes we get confused with what it actually is. Like people think I'm gonna go and lay out on the couch and tell these people all my business, and all they gonna do is give me some medicine. That's all they want to do is give me medicine. Share with our audience today exactly what is counseling. What do you see counseling as?
Counseling is really a conversation with a licensed therapist to help you work through some of your issues. I don't prescribe medication. So I am not a psychiatrist, so I do not give medication, but I do assist with giving individuals tools to use to help them through whatever it is they're going through. She did ask what kind of counseling I do. I have particularly focused on short-term solution-focused practices, and that is because typically when you have someone in your office, you probably got them a good 6 sessions.
Okay.
And then they start feeling better and they like, I don't need that no more. I'm not going. So it's solution focused. So we come in and we get to the gusto, get to the meat of it, so that I can equip them with tools. So tools for success.
Right.
To help them stay on the straight and narrow, to help them go through some of their things. And I've done all kinds of I've handled all kinds of issues from career counseling. I want to change my path to depression,
Mhm.
to grief. So I've dealt with several different scenarios and situations.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up grief. When um, through my experience for this last year, okay, I've experienced a lot of grief. What I know that has helped me was talking. But I know everyone don't go through the same things the same way. But talking has helped me. Um, Being with someone that I know understands the mind and hearing the things that I've said, that can give me some tools, because what I need is nuggets. I need to know when this happened, this is what you can do. When you start feeling this way, why don't you try this? Those particular things. So, what I also get is some negative feedback from those who haven't experienced counseling before. Girl, don't you go to those people, girl. I wouldn't tell nobody all my business. They just nosy. I bet they go and tell everybody and all of that. How can we get away from the negative perception of counseling in our community? How can we deal with that?
Well, first of all, nosy, no. I trust and believe. I got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Okay, I got my own stuff to deal with. So,
Right.
As far as being, just be aware. There is a negative perception when it comes to counseling in our community. However, it's a need for it as well, especially with the growing population. These kids nowadays are so different,
Mhm.
and it's because they have technology. They're knowledgeable, they're smart.
Mhm.
Uh, before I can finish the sentence, my daughter Googling to see if I'm right. You know,
Right.
and that's what we deal with now.
Mhm.
So they're very aware, very self-aware, very aware of surroundings, and they struggle with a lot because they're unsocialized.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so if ever our community needed counseling, this is the time.
Right.
One, I'll say, I grew up in a household that, what happened in this house, stay in this house. You don't go telling everybody our business.
Right.
But I always equivalated, like she said, when you're sick, what do? You go to the doctor.
Mhm.
If you have high blood pressure, they say take this pill, you take that medicine. It's the same thing with mental health. I worked at a behavioral health hospital, and a lot of the clients that I saw there, they were repeat clients. I saw them over and over because they would say, "Oh, I'm doing good now. I can get off my meds," and we would have these same conversations.
Mhm.
You're on the meds for a reason, and so yes, you're doing good. You were doing really well while you were taking your meds.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing. If you're diabetic and you stop taking your insulin, guess what happens?
Mhm.
Your diabetes is going to flare up. You may end up in the hospital. You're going to end up with complications. It's the same thing with mental health. If you are on medication and you stop taking your medication, you're kind of stunting your growth in a sense.
Right.
So it is a negative perception, but it's also necessary. I will also tell you that with mental health, I got my start early on. I worked at Denton State School for some years. And so back then it was kind of hush hush. And a lot of people, if I can't handle this at home, I'm gonna go ahead and put them away. And so they would put people away in state schools. So I had a lot of clients that I worked with that had absolutely zero family input. And it wasn't just us. Let me say that.
Right.
Um, it wasn't just us.
Mhm.
But it's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help, because we all
Right.
need help sometimes.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know what to do. I can't handle this. I need someone to talk to. And it's nothing wrong with airing those things out. And so the negative perception is that, again, we keep these things in our house. But when we do that, they're not dealt with.
Mhm.
Issues remain, they fester and grow. And
Mhm.
if they start with you in your youth and they're not dealt with, guess what? Then you have a messed up adult.
Right.
Getting help and working through your issues is essential to well-being.
Mhm.
It's essential to work-life balance. It's essential to being happy. Working through your things, because again, we carry a lot with us, and we carry things over from childhood to adulthood, and it festers and it grows when we let it grow. It's just like, again, being untreated. If you're untreated, guess what? It grows. It
Right.
festers. It gets worse. And
Mhm.
it's the same thing with mental health. So
Okay. Just to share a little of my experience, that's what this platform is about. Is about the experiences that I have gone through. I know there was a time when I went through like the separation from my ex, and I have a child. So she was going through a lot of change at that particular time. So it was a list of changes that she had to go through. Well, we sold the house. So the house that she was born in, she had to move out of. The school, because we was moving to another location, she had to change the school that she had been through for a couple of years. And then just the fact of not living with both parents, she had to cope with that. So at that particular moment, I knew that was a lot of change that she had to go through and experience at a young age. So I felt the need to say, look, let me give her somebody to talk to, even though I know we have an open relationship where if I ask her a question, she can be truthful with me and tell me to her best of understanding. But I understand that there are some things that I have not yet studied in regards to questioning and probing that she probably needed in order to open up just a little bit more and deal with those emotions that she was going through. Because I was not only concerned about that she had food, that she had clothes, that she had a roof over her head. I was concerned about her emotional being. So I needed to make sure that she was taken care of emotionally, so she won't hold that in and then grow up to be an adult that don't know how to deal with emotions, or become an adult that don't know how to ask for help, or don't think that they need help. Oh, I got it myself. I had to deal with it. And then sometimes we withdraw and hold those particular things in and not deal with them because we have not been probed enough to open up and say, listen, I understand what you're going through. There's the emotion that you feel. It's okay to feel that particular way, but this is how you can deal with it when you feel those particular things. What I had to come to an understanding, but what got me there was the fact that I was a teacher. Because in being a teacher, you have to be / counselor. So I saw firsthand what kids are dealing with, and when they are not helped, the outcomes, how they act out, how they get involved in drugs and sex and alcohol and things like that as a coping mechanism. So when we get to the point of we know we need some help, what can we do? How can we get to this point where I know I need to talk to somebody that has studied the mind? What are my steps? What do I do once I make this particular decision?
Place a phone call, send an email.
Mm-hmm.
There are many there are benefits to talking to people, period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys. Have you ever had a friend that they're heavy, and they call you and they just go off and they dump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they give it all to you. Well, at the end of it, they're light, they feel better,
Right.
and you're heavy,
Right.
because you took all of that in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a counselor does.
Right.
A counselor takes all of that in,
Mm-hmm.
but they also hold you accountable. So even though you get to come in, you get to dump, at some point there's also a sense of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
What is your part in it? Holding your feet to the fire. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And being responsible for your part in whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say, because some people are victims,
Right.
but having a victim mentality, helping people work through the things that happen to them, knowing that it's not their fault. I will use, for example, I've dealt with patients that have been molested and they blame themselves. Well, maybe I shouldn't have worn that, or
Right.
maybe I shouldn't have walked around like that. And helping them to see and understand that it's not their fault, and that the person who victimized them had an illness.
Right.
Something was going on with that person, and that it wasn't their fault. That's what a counselor does. So
Okay.
that's the benefit. Helping you to work through things, helping you to realize it wasn't my fault.
Right.
Or this part I did play in it. Let me own my stuff. And so as I own my stuff, I won't repeat these things because now I'm aware of what it is.
Right. Right.
So,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
One of the things that you said too, being in education, yes, we see a lot. We see a lot. And I just want to say there are a lot of kids who go through who do things, who have issues, and you would never know it. But there are also those kids that come in, they act a donkey, they climb the wall, they cuss you out. They are frustrated because they don't know how to say, this is what's going on with me.
Right.
They don't know how to say, I'm feeling some kind of way.
Mhm.
So it manifests in different ways. And it does in adults as well.
Mhm.
Adults, I know a lot of adults that self-medicate. They drink, they smoke, they do different things. They
Right.
self-medicate in order to get past whatever it is. But guess what? After the medicine wears off and you wake up, the issue is still there because you still haven't dealt with it. So talking to someone who's studied the mind can help you deal with it, can help you air out your things, can help you be less overwhelmed.
Mhm.
We can help you walk through steps. Everything Rome was not built in a day. So although I feel like sometimes I am superwoman, I don't say no to anything. I will put my roller skates on and I'm going with, I got it. No, I'm not superwoman. I
Right.
can't do everything. So I can help sometimes to break those things down into steps. Let's pick one thing at a time and focus on it.
Right.
Let's focus on this one thing and we'll work on that one thing and then we'll add something else because we can't do everything at once.
Right.
So that's one of the benefits to counsel.
Great. So, Janine, thank you so much for your comment. You're leading us up to our next discussion question for Dr. Thomas. She says, a lot of people don't know how or where to get help, or they don't have insurance or benefits. So I know Dr. Thomas worked at the Hamilton Group, right? Isn't that what it's called? The Hamilton Group. So the Hamilton Group is set up to where they can provide some sessions for free counseling, and they have a part where you can pay if you're able to. But there's some paperwork that you can fill out to where you can get some assistance if you don't have that benefit. Tell us about how we can find a therapist and counselor, whether we have insurance or not.
Okay. Well, one of the things, if you do have insurance, great, because you can always contact your insurance provider to see which providers are available that accepts the insurance. If you don't have insurance, there are methods and things out there for you. I do work for Hamilton Counseling and Consulting, and one of the programs that we work with there is called Family Tree, and we work with kids up to 17 years of age, and we do provide free counseling service. It is a state-funded deal. They can get 6 to 10 free sessions. They can attend groups, which is great. I believe in groups because they get to see that, oh, I'm not the only one. Somebody else is going through this and somebody else feels this way.
Right.
And so they get to relate to somebody and know that they're not alone. So there are several licensed counselors there at Hamilton. They also have cash pay services, like she said, and we'll work with you on a sliding scale if you can't afford the rates. There are some different programs I know out there. Harmony is offered through, I believe, Concord Church. And then you can always Google. There are several BetterHelp, Psychology Today that counselors also list with. So.
Okay. All right. So she also asks, is it resident based? It is not. It is on appointment only, where you just come in. So it's not a facility where residents are able to stay there. Also, I want to add something. And I recently did this because I transferred from working in Dallas ISD to Fort Worth ISD. So I had like new benefits. So when it was time for me to take my daughter to the dentist, I didn't know, what to do. Like, where do I go? Like, I can't call Fort Worth ISD to ask them that. So this is what you do. If you have insurance, I'm about to be a commercial. If you have insurance, you turn that insurance card on the back. There is a customer service number that you call and tell them that you want to find a provider that takes your insurance, because it's all about what's in their base. And they will ask for your zip code to where they will find those particular counselors or whatever in your area. That way you won't have to travel a whole lot of places, and they will give you a list of people to who you can talk to, or a list of counselors that's in your area. They have a whole list. If you want spiritual counselors, if you want you have a preference in gender, if you have a preference in race, if you have a preference in your religious base, all of those things are available to you when you have those benefits. Okay, I'm going back to the comment. She have some follow-up questions. She meant to say restricted by like where you live. Need a resource for someone in Fort Worth. So is there a restriction to the place where you are? Like, is it according to your residence?
Well, I want to say this particular one is for Dallas County,
Okay.
but they do also have Family Tree that extends to Tarrant County, Denton County. So you could Google Family Tree and Google providers, and it'll give you a list of places that provide services.
Okay. I want to go back to what you said about self-medicating. I self-medicate myself with coffee. Do you have any nuggets for me? Because coffee makes me feel good and give me the strength I need to keep going. And it's my self-medication. This is my drug of choice. So cheers to to coffee. But I do understand when it comes to self-medicating, there are some people who feel like I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to self-medication, there are some people who are functioning. So they feel because I function, I still get up and go to work. I still do the things that I'm supposed to do. I'm still responsible. I still pay my bills, all of that. They feel like if I self-medicate myself, I'm cool, not knowing about the suppression that they're doing. I'm not suppressing them with coffee. I don't have to have it, but I want it. And I can drink it morning, noon, and night. So I got some other preachers on here. That's Pastor Shepherd, drink coffee. So do Pastor Butcher. I think it's a preacher thing, I guess. So thank you all for commenting on that. I also want to make reference to a comment that Pastor Shepherd made when it comes to counseling. He said something about we all can use counseling in one aspect or another. We are often quick to get business counseling, financial counseling. However, we must also consider the benefit of seeking and getting emotional counseling, mental counseling, spiritual counseling. This is much needed. This is a much needed topic. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that particular comment. Dr. Thomas, can you speak to how we put things in order based on our particular needs in regards to counseling? And when it comes to our mental counseling, why is that so much on the back burner? Do you have some something you can say or speak on that?
Well, actually, he's absolutely correct. We people prioritize what's important to them.
Right.
Okay. And so depending on where you are and your priorities shift and change. So my priority today might be let me chase that dollar. Okay.
Right.
Get out there and get it, whatever I have to do. Tomorrow it may be let me focus on getting me better, or so people prioritize what's important to them.
Right.
A lot of times people go through stuff and don't even realize that they're in crisis, don't realize that they're grieving because they're so used to it. I tell people all the time, there is function and dysfunction. And so people function in their dysfunction because we get used to it. This is not new. This is the same old thing. So we just keep moving. We keep doing what we have to do. So one of the things that his comment made me think of is there's 7 dimensions of wellness. I work with an organization called T, and we focus on those 7 dimensions of wellness. Mm-hmm. And it's systemic. If you're unwell in one area, it kind of lends to every other area. So it's the sum of the parts affects the whole. Mm-hmm. If one part is out of whack, guess what? The whole system is out of whack. And so it's important that you get all of your systems in line and all of your dimensions lined up together, mm-hmm. so that you can be whole.
Right.
And then another thing I did not mention, most employers have an employee assistance program. So even if you do not have insurance and you work, a lot of times your employer will have an EAP program, and they have counselors signed up with the EAP program where you can get free counseling with them as well. And it just depends on who you work with. Sometimes you get 5 to 8 free sessions with the EAP program as well.
Oh, can you tell us what does that EAP? What does that stand for?
It stands for Employee Assistance Program.
Oh, okay.
So if you ask your employer if you don't have insurance or if you need, ask them about the EAP program. And a lot of times they will have providers that are signed up,
Mm-hmm.
therapists that are signed up, and you get 5 to 8 free sessions with your EAP program.
EAP, just for me. Hey, sound like something we could use in our community. Especially, we have this perception that counseling costs,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Counseling costs too much. What can you say concerning that? Like, I don't want to go to counseling because I don't want to pay this amount of dollar to go to get this particular help, even though we'll pay that amount of dollar for something to wear or fine dining or things that is enjoyable. That's enjoyment to us. How can we get past this? The cost of counseling to prevent us from trying to get it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to say you're worth it. You are so worth it. Just like you've worked those shoes and that purse. I'm a shoe and purse freak, okay? So just like you're worth those shoes and your purse, you are worth getting your mind right and getting yourself together. So the thing is, think about this. How many of you have had failed relationships? How many of you have gone through different things? And sometimes it stems from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father wasn't there, so you get married and you look for your husband to be your dad. It is so worth getting yourself together, because it's the thing. We ladies, I'm going to step on y'all toes because we walk around talking my Boaz. Oh, I want my Boaz. I want my Boaz. Well, where are you? Are you Ruth? Are you? And are you ready? So sometimes you have to stop and you have to look at yourself and get yourself together. Getting you together is only going to benefit everybody else around you. If you're not good for you, you're not good for anybody else.
Right.
So you are so worth it. And you also have counselors that work on sliding scales. Mm-hmm. I have clients that I see that I work on a sliding scale. I don't charge them a full $125 to $150 an hour. Mm-hmm. Because I do understand that, and I also understand the importance of counseling. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, I'm not in this to get rich. I don't foresee making $1 million this year with people sitting on my couch. Okay?
Right.
But the reward comes in when I get somebody. Like I had a young lady just last week, and she said, I asked her how do you feel about this? She said, surprisingly, it helped. She had been to counseling before. She hated it. Mm-hmm. Didn't do anything. But she said, I feel great. She said, surprisingly, it helped. And I was like, well, surprise, So I'm glad that I was able to help. My goal is to be instrumental. My goal is to be able to help others through whatever it is they're going through. And sometimes I will tell you this, every counselor and client are not good fits.
Right.
I have had clients that I'm like, I can't do this. They fired. It's okay to fire a client, and it's okay to fire your counselor.
Right.
It doesn't mean my counselor don't agree with nothing I say. So no, that's not a good counselor. That may be the best counselor for you.
Right.
Challenging your thought processes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes our thought processes need to be challenged. I will tell you, I'm real quick. I do perception checking all the time. Something going on, I might say, hey, girl, listen, I don't know. But am I tripping? Tell me if I'm tripping, because if I'm tripping, I need to come down. I need to check myself.
Right.
So I do that with friends. I go to counseling. I see a counselor at least once or twice a year.
Right.
Because being a counselor is heavy.
Right.
Everybody's everything.
Right.
But sometimes I just have to stop and do something for me and get away from it. So yeah, the cost is there, but you're worth it.
Right.
You're worth that and then some.
Yes. You deserve it. Yeah. But yes, we deserve all that's out there for us. Like there are so many things that's beneficial to us. I'm looking at some of these comments. When you said Boaz, they went to going. Everybody want Bo's ass. Everybody want him. So Camille says you have to mentally prepare for Boaz, and then Paul Preach said, "Are you Ruth?" I got to remember that. Yes, call me Ruth Tisha. That's
Right.
right. My name is Ruth Tisha, and I'm ready. No, let's get back to the counseling, Tisha. Stay focused. Okay, let's go on to our next question about getting focused on this particular counseling. I know when it comes to grief and losing a loved one, there are different ways, for us to handle it. But how do we, as just natural people, deal with the expectation of others and how long, we're supposed to grieve? Like some people be like, girl, it's been a year, you still going through, or they give you these particular looks when you're still like emotional. I know with me, there are sometimes moments, unexpected moments, where it just hit me a thought. And the tears are coming and the emotion is there, because you think about how you live with this person for so long, and then they're no longer here, so you have to learn how to live without. Sometimes those particular moments hit you out of nowhere, and it can be years later. How do we deal with the expectation of others and dealing with it's okay for us to feel like we feel when it comes to grief?
Well, first of all, I would say everybody grieves differently.
Mhm.
Okay? And there are cycles to grief. And even though you go through the different cycles and you get past one stage and you get to the next stage, you
Mhm.
can repeat and you can start all over. So grieving is not situational. It's not a time limit on how long you should grieve. I do believe that part of it is the expectation of others is more so of I want my loved one to be okay. And I don't know how to help. Because when you're grieving, it's nothing anybody can say or do to pull you out of that grief. I can't help you. I can be there physically. I can sit here, but it's not really helping because she's still crying. She's still upset. She's still, going through.
Uh-huh.
But you are allowed to grieve and you grieve however you want to grieve.
Right.
Now, I will say, no, we can't live there. It can't be day in, day out, because at some time you got to get up and shake the dust off.
Right.
But that doesn't mean every day is going to be good. Doesn't mean every day is going to be bad either.
Mhm.
Because it's just we still have to keep going and we still have to live. So I believe that most of it has to do with people saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for her.
Right.
All I know is she's hurting
Mhm.
and I can't change it. Okay.
Mhm.
And especially men. Men want to fix it. They want to fix it. And when they get to a point where they feel like they can't fix it, they're at a loss. So she ought to be over this by now because I don't know what to do.
Right.
It's easier to say you need to get over it than it is to say I don't know what to do or I don't know how to help you.
Mhm.
So people are going to have expectations and I don't think anybody expects you to just say, okay, today I'm going to grieve and it's going to be over. No, I really, my stepfather died 5 years ago, and I know I still have moments
Right.
that I think, oh my God, he's gone.
Mhm.
I used to walk in the house and he'd be sitting there and we joked and played, and so I would yell and say, ah, oh, you scared me so much, you ugly. How we got along.
Right.
But I can remember those things and it brings a smile to my face, but sometimes it brings tears.
Right. Right.
Because it's been 5 years. But again, that was my dad. He raised me from 9 years of age.
Mhm.
So it's not a time limit on it. And
Right.
it's not an expectation. It's just sometimes we have those little moments, like you said, but let those moments be tender. Let people know I'm still okay. I'm just having a moment.
Right.
It's okay to have them because you're gonna have several of them.
Mhm.
You're not gonna stop. You're gonna have several of them. But I don't believe that it's an expectation of you're supposed to be over this by now. I believe it's a feeling of helplessness. I can't help you. I don't know what to do. And so I feel helpless right now. So I want you to be okay.
Right.
When it's your loved one, that's the place they're coming from. It's not necessarily just you need to get over it. It's just I can't help you and I don't know what to do.
Right. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was very good advice. I know this is not a counseling session, but I do want, there is this spirit of depression that is like out in the land. I know a lot of like millennials and young people that are dealing with this thing called depression, that they don't know what to do with. They feel like they have no way of escape, but yet they don't feel the need to go get help. Okay. Um, can you talk about this thing called depression and what we can do to help us lead to getting some help from this spirit that's attached to us?
That's a tough cookie,
I
right?
know.
Okay, so depression, yes, it is rampant right now.
Hmm.
Thing with young adults and kids, I guess I'm more compassionate to them because they don't really have a choice.
Right.
They don't get to say, "Hey, I'm gonna stand in this line right here, and I get to choose the best mommy and daddy in the world."
Right.
They don't get to say, "All of my situations are gonna be great. I'm always gonna eat. I'm always gonna have all of my needs met.
Hmm.
I'm never gonna be abused," because they have to deal with the hand that was given them.
Right.
A lot of times we look at kids and say, "Oh, they'll bounce back. They're resilient." But these kids nowadays face so much and go through so much
Right.
that it's almost unreal because sometimes it's like you wouldn't believe it.
Hmm.
I had a student that I worked with this year. I'm telling you, one day I just went and sat in my car and boo-hoo cried because I did not know what to do. I can talk to him, and he got to the point where he would talk to me and
Hmm.
we would talk, but he was severely depressed and he was very serious about the things that he planned to do.
Right.
He had given up on himself. And
Hmm.
like, how do you give that back?
Right.
How do you give that back? Um, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's
Right.
hard to reach, but it's like you have to take it one day at a time.
Hmm.
You have to do something. Sometimes you have to shake it off and you have to do something to get yourself out of it. For example, I said one day and I was watching Lifetime movies, okay?
Hmm.
And I watched their first Lifetime movie and I boo hoo cried.
Right.
Okay? I watched the second one and guess what I did? I boo hoo cried. That third movie came out. I said, "Oh no, I am not doing this." Right? So we have to be careful sometimes what we let in.
Right.
Kids don't really realize and know that.
Hmm.
So sometimes we need to cover them. Like I'm a prayer warrior, so I pray for the kids in the building when they walk in. Lord, let their needs be met. Um, I pray the spirit of depression off. But
Hmm.
I know. Don't get me wrong. I know prayer don't change everything for everybody, but that's the one thing I can do that's free. If I can't do anything else, I can do that.
Yes.
When my kids, it's the summer, they're away from me. We got kids that I know don't even eat. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. But I cover them in prayer. Now, this whole thing with this depression, it's part of it has to do to me with it's so much out there. It's so much available.
Right.
You can find information at the touch of a button. And
Mhm.
they Google everything. Even my daughter, we have these conversations. I'm trying to get her to educate me because I don't know. I'm
Right.
trying to learn. Don't get me wrong. But I know we have the whole LGBTQIA population. We have a new uh I don't know what to call it, but non-binary. So you're not male, you're female, you're not female, you're non-binary. So I guess a new gender. Um,
Mhm.
and so I try to talk to kids because I want to be educated on those things.
Right. Right.
I don't want to be offensive when I'm working with kids. I don't
Right.
want to overstep, but I ask questions. I'm like, okay, so what's going on with this? You have some people that go through so much and they're so stuck in whatever it is that they're going through that they don't know how to get out of it.
Right.
If you gave them, you could have a gold plate sitting in front of them with all of the answers and they wouldn't know how to take it.
Right. That's true.
And if you set it in their lap, they would try to get it back
Yeah.
because they're so accustomed to what they're dealing with.
Mhm.
But I say to you and to all of them, it's temporary. Storm does not last always. Trouble
Yes.
don't last always.
Yes.
So tomorrow there's always a chance to start over. One of the things I used to talk to my students about,
Right.
my quote was, today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you gonna do with it? Okay, tomorrow is over. You messed up. It's okay.
Mhm.
What we gonna do today? We gonna mess up again? No. You have a choice and you can change some things so you can do different. And so even with depression, I say sometimes, again, that third movie, I'm not gonna sit here and do this all day. I
Right.
got up, I took me a shower, and I got out of the house. So
Right.
sometimes it's just a matter of changing your environment.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just a matter of doing something different. The difference with kids is they don't have those same freedoms.
Right.
So when working with a kid that does struggle with depression, what I do say, hey, come up with a routine, exercise. It releases positive endorphins. I give them some tidbits and some tips to kind of help. We do um, positive affirmations. What is it that you can tell yourself to make yourself feel better?
Mhm.
And tell yourself and mean it.
Right.
And when I start going through, and I'm going through I use scriptures. Jeremiah 29:11, my favorite scripture. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper, not to harm. So if God has plans to prosper me, not to harm, whatever this is I'm going through right now, it's gonna be over. Because he's already told me he knows the plans he has for me.
Yes.
He's already told me he has plans for hope in the future. So if he got plans for hope in the future, whatever this is right here, it'll be over tomorrow, and I'm gonna be okay.
Right. Right.
We can't live in it. We have to move on. We have to move forward. We have to do something to change our outlook. So what is a positive outlook? What can you do to help you? What's good for me is not good for everybody.
Right.
Somebody might go, but I'm not going out there to play basketball. I am not athletically inclined. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is gonna be something totally different. You just have to find your happy and work with that.
Yes. Thank you so much. So while we're going through the rest of these, I just want to make mention that you can comment some questions you want to ask or some statements you want to put. I am paying attention to the comments today. I do mention of one from Octavia says, it is hard to talk to strangers for some, not all, but I closed up so horribly. I was my own enemy. How can we help ourselves from preventing ourselves from the damage that we do from just talking to our minds and telling us that I don't want to talk to somebody, or a stranger, I can't relate to a stranger? How can we prevent ourselves from blocking the help that we need?
Part of that is it. One of the things when you have a counseling relationship, that's just what it is. It's a relationship, and you have to build rapport. So if I'm gonna see Tisha, then I'm not just gonna go in. Okay, Tisha girl, what's going on with you? Tell me what's wrong. What can I help you with? No, we have to build a rapport because she needs to trust me in order to tell me what's going on with her. So we're gonna talk. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna share some anecdotal stories. I'm a storyteller. I'm gonna tell some of the things that I've been through.
Right.
Just so you know, one again, you're not alone. But you have to build that positive rapport and you have to build a relationship and establish a relationship before you trust somebody. We are not a trusting people. Again, what happened in this house, stay in this house. Don't you run out of this house telling nobody what's going on in this house. That was
Right.
a good, quick way to get you a whooping when growing up, right?
Right.
So you have to build rapport. You have to, and that's why I say all therapist-client relationships don't work. It is okay to fire your therapist. Okay? It is okay for your therapist to fire you as a client. Because if I'm working with you and something ain't working, wait a minute, because you don't like to listen. You're not hearing me. What is your part in this? I worked with a teacher this year, and I get it. Sometimes everybody's not meant to be a teacher. Let me say that. Everybody is not meant to be a teacher. Some are, some are not.
Right.
But it's very important that you have processes and procedures in place. And so when I'm talking to you and you're saying, well, oh, they said they were going to write me up for this and they're going to write me up. And I said, okay, well, what is your part in that? Oh, I don't care. Well, why are we talking about it if you don't care?
Uh-huh.
So one of the things that I recommended, I said, hey, okay, why don't you record yourself giving a lesson? Record yourself and you take the rubric and you go and grade yourself on the rubric.
Mm-hmm.
So and you tell me how you did.
Right, right.
Refusal. So you're not trying to get better. So if you're trying to get better, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna take those steps to challenge. As an instructor, I'm not gonna tell you I was not the best teacher. Okay, was not the best teacher. Was not the worst teacher though.
Right.
But one of the things as an educator was very important to me is to do those kids no harm. I'm not gonna come up in here and tell you 2 times 2 is 10. Okay, I needed to know my craft and I needed to know how to do some things. And if I'm teaching incorrectly, it's a problem.
Right.
So it's some things that I had to do. I kept journals. I wrote stuff down so that I could go back and tweak how I did things so that I could do them differently
Mm-hmm.
because I did not want to be a detriment to the kids. And it's the same thing as counseling. I don't want to be a detriment to anyone that I'm working with. So if I feel like I'm working with you and it's not helping, then hey, let me go ahead and suggest that you might want to deal with somebody else because I don't feel like, hey, this is the 6th meeting and we're not getting anywhere.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But it's about relationship. And I've had some clients that we've built relationships and they're like, I don't want to stop here. I want to keep going. I'm like, well, you don't need me anymore. Because you've gotten to the point you don't need me anymore.
Right.
And
Right.
it's okay for us to check in periodically. We can check in every 3 months. And if you feel like you need to resume sessions, then that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
some of y'all just come on here, we're gonna look at each other for an hour. I
Right.
don't need me anymore. And you're doing great. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can stop blocking your help by asking for it, recognizing what it is. What that person said is I was my own worst enemy. And most times we are. We are
Yeah.
our own worst critics.
Yes.
Nobody can tell you the down low bad about me like I can. I
Right.
can all down to y'all got a whole list, okay? So we sit and we judge ourselves. And we judge ourselves harshly.
Yes.
We probably judge ourselves more critically than we do we give everybody else grace. But when it comes to us, we don't.
Right.
So I say to you, take it easy on yourself and give yourself a little bit of grace because you're not perfect and you weren't meant to be.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate that part about giving yourself grace. That's something that I struggle with myself and just making mistakes. I don't like making the mistakes. And no, not saying that I want to be perfect or have to be perfect. I don't even think about perfection. My focus is on not making a mistake. But even if I do, I have to give myself the grace. Like, girl, you're gonna make some mistakes in this life. Just learn from them and try to do better the next time or try to fix it. So I appreciate you in saying the grace part. Because that's good counseling and self-medication. That's some good medicine we can give to ourselves instead of giving the alcohol and the drugs and stuff like that. Give yourself some grace, medicate yourself with a whole lot of grace, because it's not going to be perfect, but you can give yourself enough grace to push you to keep going. So I like that particular thing. There was something else someone said. It was the Master Shepherd. Prayer is the first step in moving your faith to the next level. Pray, trust, obey God, and then seek professional help. Ever since my first live, when I was talking about adjusting your attitude with the letter A, my first thing came out of my mind. First Jesus, then counseling. Get you some Jesus and get you some help. And I would say it's best when you're choosing the particular counselor, you choose someone that believes like you. Because that will be a constant conflict. I'm not going to a counselor that's not a believer,
Right.
Because I need you to believe by faith in speaking these particular things so we can connect. Okay. So, but if you're not there spiritually, because I'm a spiritual being. So that's what my mindset is. That's where I can relate. That's where my belief system is. When you can penetrate that within my mind, I can connect and a light come on and I'm with you and I can go with you according to the will of God. I know there's a lot of people who won't pray. They just send these positive vibes and and all that. I'm not against that. A positive vibe have never helped me, but maybe it helped somebody else. It's very encouraging, but it has never like gave me the strength to just keep going. Not a vibe. But some prayer has helped me. I understand the prayers of the righteous avail much. I know how it feels to be prayed for, and I know that prayer changes things, and sometimes prayer changes people. Okay. Jessica says, I wish my husband was here listening. This is a great session. He's not big on mental health and counseling. Oh my goodness. Dr. Thomas, talk about mental health in men. What is up with that?
Ooh, okay, now that's a whole nother podcast. Well, you know what? I think that men are born and bred to be the heroes.
Okay.
Men are born and bred to be the saviors. You got to go to work. You got to make the money. You got to get out there and hit it. You got to provide, And so most men are focused on that.
Right.
And they don't focus. You get men and they just don't deal with emotion.
Right.
They don't deal with the emotion, and they don't deal with the things that got them to where they are. Okay. And that's not all men, but most that I have encountered. I do what I'm supposed to do. I go to work. I bring home the money. I do this, but there's a piece missing, the distance. You go to work, you come home, you distant. And you come home, but we don't talk and we don't do this. And,
right.
Can I get a hug? Can I get some kind of affection? But a lot of times, again, men were bred not to do those things.
Right.
I laugh all the time. My grandfather, and my sister, she'd say, I love you, Dad. Yeah, me too. That would be his answer. Right. And so she said, Daddy, why you don't never tell me you love me?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I love you. I show you I love you? And she said, Daddy, why don't you ever tell me you love me?
Right.
I need to hear that sometimes. Sometimes, I remember him starting to say, my grandfather, I was probably 34, 35. And he said to me, and this is before he passed away, he said, I'm proud of you. My grandfather was a man of few words. So when he said that, it shocked me, first of all. I'm like, what?
Right. Uh-huh.
You are? What I do? And he was like, you waited. I had my first child at 33. He was like, you got your education, you did all of this. And so that was big for him. But he had a third grade education.
Right.
Helped raise the family. He probably has been working since he was third grade. So that's 8, 9 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And was taught, I got to get out there and get it.
Okay? Right.
He retired from 3 jobs. So he worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time. That's what he knew. He was an excellent provider. But the other part wasn't there. He didn't know how to give that emotion. Mm-hmm. And again, when we said, Daddy, I love you, he was uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, me too. That's discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
That's discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say, well, Daddy, why you can't tell me you love me? Well, I just bought you a car, didn't I? What I mean?
Right.
So he's like, I just showed you that I love you because I gave you what you needed. And so they don't necessarily know how to articulate it. They don't necessarily know how to receive it. I am a firm believer. I love male mental health workers. And there are some out there because I can't teach you how to be a man. I can't relate to you as a man.
Right.
Never been one. I do not know how to be standing up. Okay. I can empathize. We can have conversations, but another man can work with it better because they know what you've been through and they know the experience of being a man.
Right.
So again, that's where that good fit comes in. Find someone that's a good fit for you. And if you're a male, I had someone call me and reach out and say, hey, I need a male therapist for my husband.
Right.
Say less. I know these ones. Here, call this one, or that one, And that's where because at least he's admitting that he needs help, but he's saying, I don't want to go talk to no girl because she ain't gonna up side with you. You know,
Right. Right.
but he wanted to talk to somebody that could relate to him. So find somebody that's relatable. Find
Right.
somebody that's relatable and be able to say, I love you too.
Right. Right. Oh, I've experienced that in so many different ways, but I guess the support from the women is the nurturing part in understanding that they lack that emotional part growing up and saying they have to stop crying. You better not cry and all this type of stuff. So learning how to receive it, oh my goodness, could be almost a fight. And then trying to give it on top of that
Yes.
in words, using their words. They're so busy using their body and their strength and all of that. Using their words could be very difficult. That's when it's time for us to step in, pray for them, encourage them, let them know the benefits from it. So that means when we go, we have to show some differences that we're making to make them know that there's benefit in going through this. I want to touch on one more person before we go. Carmen says, for so long, there was a belief that if I had Jesus, I would need therapy. Long as I got King Jesus, long as I got King Jesus, long as I don't need nobody else. That's a lie. That is a lie. Oh, yes. He have created us to need one another. He has equipped us to learn. He have anointed certain people to be there for us in certain situations. So there is no way you don't need nobody else but him. I understand what the song is saying. Right. As long as I seek him first, all these other things is going to be added unto me. That's how I interpret it. But there is a need from us. That's why he created family and connection and friends and, made it to where we have to interact with one another because we do need one another. Do you have anything to say on that particular part, Dr. Thomas?
Well, he also said, where two or more are gathered, I will be in the midst. So you sit up there by yourself. It ain't two now. Come on. You need somebody with you. Right. So he's letting you know in that particular scripture that you do need somebody. And you need like-minded individuals. So yes, we can pray your way through. We can do that too. But faith without works is dead.
Right.
So there's going to be some work that you have to do as well. So a counselor or therapist can help you through that work.
Right. Okay. Dr. Thomas. Listen, we thank you for being out here with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your mind, your words. It is very obvious that you have studied and you understand and know what it is to need the counseling, and you're there. You have been a resource. How can we get in touch with you? If someone wants to reach out to you, let us know how we can get in touch with you. And if you do online, if you do in person, you do over the phone, let us know. How can we reach you if we want to reach out and get some help?
My email address is listed below. So Dr. Marilyn Thomas create@gmail.com is my email. And that is probably the best way to reach me because it pops up on my phone. Sometimes I am disconnected, but I do check my emails periodically. I do virtual counseling as well as in person. I work with different schedules, so I'm versatile and will work with people in need as well. So.
Okay, so that is Dr. Marilyn Thomas, create, right? At gmail.com. Dr. Marilyn Thomas create at gmail.com. You can reach out to her if you would like to talk a little further about a plan. If she's not the perfect fit for you, she has some resources that she can use to get you to the right person. And then that's the thing. We need resources.
Yes.
You know, because we all don't know the same thing. We all don't know, you know, how to reach out. Sometimes I just need, Tisha, I need you to hook me up with somebody that's going to help me. You can't help me, but do you know somebody? Dr. Thomas is available. She is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but she can be virtual. I am so grateful. Listen, I do not like the pandemic. Nothing. I don't like it. But the pandemic gave us a new way of living. Okay. I don't have to go and be in your face all the time. You know, we got church on the go. Mm-hmm. I was on vacation yesterday, but I was at church. I heard it. That particular part, especially with somebody who feel like they don't want to sit on the couch, or they don't want, you know, they can be in the comfort of their own home and still receive this particular help through videos, through phones. So if you're out there, or if you know someone, listen, if you know someone that really needs some help, I don't want you to go say, girl, you better go get you some help. That's not the way to approach it. But you can say, you know, I have someone that you can talk to that could be a resource that could probably give you some nuggets, or some things that you can do to help you cope with the things that you're going through. Share this video, or give them Dr. Thomas' email so they can reach out to her. If she can't do it, she can find someone who can. All right. Thank you, Dr. Thomas, for hanging out with us and educating us on counseling. Now, from now on, we should have the courage to choose counseling. We should no longer live in fear of what it is or how it would help us, or go with the norm on what they say. Forget them. Get some help, and it's okay. It's not all about like you have a mental illness. You do not have to have a mental illness to go to counseling. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. And that's what Dr. Thomas has let us understand and know. Counseling is a conversation with someone who is well equipped with the study of the mind and how it works and how it functions. And then how we can choose some things to do that would help us deal with those situations that we cannot change. Once we get into a particular situation, you can't change it, because if you could, you wouldn't be in it. But now that you're in it, what do you need to do to help you cope and still deal with life? Oh, we still promoting Jesus and counseling. Jesus and counseling. That's what we're promoting. So I would like to thank you all for visiting us on today. See you all next Monday, first Monday, where we're going to deal with the letter D. Y'all don't want to miss that when I tell you. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is, but I'll let you know in a couple of weeks. We're dealing with the letter D. And tonight, you should have the courage to choose counseling. Thank you all, and you all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out, world, I'm coming through. Watch out. You've experienced life, love, lost, have no fear. Just keep pushing, be strong. Keep the faith until change comes. Strength is not how much you can never overcome it.